Hey guys, even though I've got a lot going on in my life, I am going to give you an update on one of my most recent thoughts. Somebody said that they heard that something might be happening soon, so it's good that I'm getting out of Kansas City, Missouri. It just occurred to me this morning that it's almost exactly 11 years since the Western Coalition, the International Coalition, in particular the United States, invaded the nation of Iraq. And it was during that period of time that I myself was returning to Portland after a period of departure from Portland. There is a pattern with me leaving Portland during the beginning of solar maximum and being sensitive to the energies there, taking off for a couple of years, excuse the sound effects, and coming back a few years later on. And I remember what that feels like. And so I feel like I'm coming back to Oregon at a particular point in time, and yet we're looking at the potential for other events to begin. Now, let's talk about Ukraine really quickly. It's like a woman being pulled from two different arms, two different angry, dominant men, the West and Russia. There is no guy in this, good guy in this. But there's a lot of people out there that are getting involved in this good cop, bad cop dichotomy. It's bullshit. There is no good guy in this. Russia is not a good guy in this. Putin is not a good guy in this. You need to be able to see through these lies because this is all part of the theater that's setting us on the stage to World War III. I'm going to make a film at some point in my lifetime exposing the globalist ties between China, Russia, and the United States and their plot to stage World War III. And I do this because out of forgiveness and compassion for the country that I live in that attacked Afghanistan and did what I see something coming to the country that I was born into, which is the United States. I feel it, and I feel it strongly. Somebody could say, well, Alex, why go back to Portland at one point where something could happen down the line? Because I might have better footage. I'm not interested in running from anything. Something's going to happen. Something's going to happen. We will continue living in these bodies until it is time for us to go home. There really is no point living a life based on fear. But when you hear me talk about off-the-grid living, do not associate that with fear running away. Associate that with one's natural state, being in nature. And that is what is important. And nature is everywhere. So let's bring this back to the conversation of solar maximum. March 19th, 2003. Coming up, we have March 19th, 2014. 11 years later. Every 11 years, we go through the solar maximum portion. And I talked about false flags being launched during solar maximum. Is there a solar maximum false flag coming? March 19th. I've been trying to tell people in the movement for a long time something could be coming. A solar flare, a false flag. The connection between the false flag and the solar flare, why? Because they know they can get humanity tricked into a war. Now, I've talked for years about a Chinese 9/11, where the West is blamed for some sort of attack on China, and the whole world turns against the West. It's called the Chinese 9/11. It's something that I've penned. It's a term that I believe is something that we're going to see in the future. I feel this intuitively. And that is going to lead eventually towards the case against America. Putin's already doing it. What's been going on with Syria and Ukraine and what Kerry's doing with what they're, first with Syria and making those lies and looking like a monster, literally on YouTube. The guy looks decrepit. The guy's a gremlin. He's like, oh, yeah, we're going to lie again. And then he goes over to Putin in terms of Ukraine and goes, I cannot believe you would do that. Invade a sovereign country, and people are like, fuck you, motherfucker! And then, people are acting reactive without thinking, dude, these guys are actors. They're acting like idiots to make you hate them no more, to bring down America's image, using America to destroy itself. Bush really wasn't an idiot. Bush can't be an idiot and do 9/11 by itself. 9/11 was a global job. Say it with me now. Say it with me now. 9/11 was a global job. China got the steel after 9/11. 9/11 was a global job. Russian troops outside Afghanistan in the weeks and months before 9/11 because they were preparing to go in and intervene. And they go, oh, we want to protect the women. We want to protect the women. Oh, from the Taliban. Look, you cannot discount the rapist history of the Soviet Union, and what they've done to Afghanistan. You can't do that in your right mind if you're anyone that stands up or believes in human rights. What I've got to do in my future is take these things I've talked about for years, from rants on YouTube to documentaries. And that is in the future for me. And that's one of the things that I want to do in this cycle. It's been fun doing live online radio and live shows, and there's potential for more live shows, and we're going to make more videos. I'm going to make more videos. But I need to definitely put a lot of this information together soon. But it's one thing at a time, and what I want you to know is events are coming. We can feel them in the air. We can feel the fluctuations in the magnetic field. Your brain is reacting to this activity, whether you're aware of this or not. Where you are on the planet is in relation to this. So you might be in a certain area and be affected more than other areas. Is it going to be a positive change or negative change? That's up to you. But in conjunction with the natural change, we do have the bombardment of the chemicals, of the artificial grid, of the fluoride, of the mind control that may be more pervasive than that which we really want to admit to ourselves. And we debate, is it the black vans, is it gang stalking, is it, just simply interdimensional or demonic? And people debate, well, what's more evil? The physical ability to threaten you, or just etheric? It's all part of the same wheel, and it's really not wise to deny the reality of either. And it's also not wise to deny the reality of the light. And there is something about the flipping of the sun's poles that I believe has shifted consciousness. I believe that there is a shift in consciousness, not so much with the December 21st date, 2012. Au contraire, there's something with that, and that was the time that I went off the grid. So there was something about that. But there was something I feel even more profound, shift-wise, about the shifting of the sun's poles. And I think that has not been given enough conversation. I've seen an increase in people having empathy for animals. I noticed trends on Facebook. Oh, people are chit-chatting about this, and then something may drop completely out of sight. Let me give an example of something dropping completely out of sight. The Deep Horizon the Deep Horizon oil spill. People thought that that was like prophecy, like the Black Sea of Death. And I posted on Facebook not too long ago because people were getting some serious Fukushima hysteria, not to downplay its threat, but people were starting to behave in hysterical ways because it seemed hyper-apocalyptic instead of just something that's a normal threat, but hyper-apocalyptic based on how some people in the alternative media skew things. For whatever reason, out of habit, lack of knowledge or ignorance, genuine confusion about the reality behind it. But telling people that they're going to die is just not a good idea. You can try to do that for 10 years, 20 years, but to make your whole life run around saying you're going to die and there's no hope, that doesn't motivate people to take something or to try to prevent their thyroid gland. In a way, it just causes people to shut down and tune out. And that's dangerous because you don't want people to tune out of a very important message because you cried fire and wolf. Well, the DP Horizon oil spill may have polluted the earth, but we are not dead yet. And a lot of the concerns people have had about seafood haven't been about the DP Horizon oil spill. It's been about Fukushima. So I posted on Facebook, hey, can anyone recall that event that a lot of people talked about could lead to the end of the world and population? Nobody could recall it. 20 people, 30 people, 40 people. It was a social experiment. Do they remember their nightmare from 3 years earlier? And not a single person. But finally, people were trying to answer like more than once. They were like looking for clues. I'm like, you can't fish for clues. And you know exactly what my point is. Because I am amongst people very concerned about what's going to happen next and when. Because it's like crack, folks. If you're not a healthy person spiritually and you don't believe that there's something about this, just this knowledge can fuck you up and actually help get you into a cage. It doesn't have to be FEMA. Simply because you're afraid. People can capitalize on that fear and basically and suck off your etheric field. While you think you're awake, yeah, only because something's constantly feeding off of you and you're constantly awake to something feeding and pulling your energy and attention. Be very careful where you put your attention from this point out. create powerful things, be a powerful person. Stop saying I can. I'm not saying I can't. I'm going to go back to where I said I want to do X, Y, and Z. And I'm going to do X, Y, and Z thanks to your support to take this message to the next level and make it even more professional than that which you are seeing now. But that fire inside me is raging right now against the evil machine, and I can see the eye of Sauron dead on, and also those that claim that, they're with us, but they are motivated out of selfish reasons. And yet, should I fight them and call them out? No. My job isn't to fix them. My job is to stay on the road towards truth and promote the truth. Because if I'm over here talking about what he's doing, and I'm over here talking about what she's doing, I'm not talking about what we could be doing. And that's getting out of this cage. And with that, have a blessed day. I'm going to be walking downtown now, and may we all create something very powerful for ourselves during this next solar flare that's coming right at us. May you be blessed with prosperity, love, happiness, peace, protection. May you be blessed. May the Creator, whether you believe in that or not, bless you for your kindness and your compassion of things that you do. It's already happening anyway. But let me just verbally reaffirm that. That, as they say, the meek shall inherit the earth. The good souls that bond together, even if there's just 3 of us or 15 of us, I'm not going for numbers for this YouTube channel. I'm not thinking about that. Because every one of my needs are being met when I do the right thing, and I truly get right with God. And I ask for forgiveness for those things that I have done. Even if I can't wrong every right, and even if not everything I've done is wrong, I've done enough good that everything works itself out. And that's what's important. May the next solar flare, may the next purge of energy allow us to create something very beautiful for us to help us either dismantle this world of control or to liberate ourselves from its control and live the free life that we were meant to live.